Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. Sean's up there to my probably left or right. I can't tell on this thing because it's a mirror, I guess. But and then below, we've got our special guest today is Graham Rahal, and he's the co-owner of our newest team in MotoAmerica, that being Rahal Ducati Moto. And Graham, thanks for joining us today. It's we've been trying to get you on for a while, but the timing couldn't be better as we have some things to talk about today that are new.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on here, and we're very, very excited for what's ahead of us. Very, very excited to be part of MotoAmerica. Looking forward to what next year has in store.
Do you want to get scared real quick?
Sure.
There's 76 days until practice at Daytona.
Well, I'm already feeling that. I know James and I know Ben are feeling that more than me, probably.
Right.
But we're very excited by it. I think we've got a great staff that we've built up. Being able to get Ben on board was a huge accomplishment for us. I felt strongly that Ben was a guy that kind of validated what we were doing, but also allowed us to really lean on him for his knowledge and all the information that he has from his background. And then, getting James Compton back into the paddock. James, most people remember him from the Jordan Suzuki days, and right. I think after that, he kind of went off and he's been doing his own thing, building his own bikes and stuff. But to get him back has been huge. His knowledge base has been tremendous. And so we're really excited. I feel like we've got a great group of guys assembled, and I think it's going to help us a lot as we go forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about it for a lot of reasons, Graham. Of course, I live in Granville, so Ohio. I think you may not. Or at least I got to bring that up immediately. So, it's great for us. I mean, obviously the Rahal name is a household name in the country, but certainly in Licking County and all over Ohio. I mean, my gosh, when I moved in '97 and thought, I'm going to become, it was Bobby then. And we went in '86 and at the Indy and all that. And I know what Mid-Ohio means to you guys. So, we're jumping around a little bit, but I want to talk to you about, obviously, Mid-Ohio is a special track for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool that we're going back there when the team when you're involved with us now. So it's so awesome.
I'm very excited about Mid-Ohio. Probably 3 years ago, Wayne and I were having some beers up in Lake Tahoe, where I'm at now. And Wayne said to me, he said, Graham, I need you to get Ohio repaved. I said, well, Wayne, I had that kind of pull, but I will definitely bother them until they break. And, Kevin and Caleb and the owners of Mid-Ohio, for them too. For IndyCar, they repaved turn 1 last year. And it was so fast. 130 mile an hour, 125 mile an hour corner. I mean, really wildly fast. And those guys, same guys that got the paving contract for turn 1, are doing the entire track now. I mean, turn 1 was kind of a test dummy to, what can we do? What can it be? And it was beautiful paving. I mean, they did a wonderful job. So I'm very excited for all the riders. I'm very excited for, motorcycle enthusiasts to be back in Ohio. There's a lot of them in the Midwest, and that to me is a thriving marketplace. So certainly we're excited for that. And, hopefully we can have some success there. It'd be great to have our bikes out on track and have a lot of our clients, from the Midwest customers, whether it's Indy or Cleveland, that can come out and join us. And we're excited by that.
Yeah, so at this point, Graham, I mean, you live in Indy now, but I mean, I was thinking of you as New Albany, and I know you're a Buckeye fan. In fact, I gotta say something. I gotta digress for a minute. It's kind of weird. So I grew up north of Syracuse, so I'm a huge Syracuse Orange fan. But by osmosis, the Buckeyes out of sunk in, and I'm all in on the team. I cannot believe that the quarterback went to Syracuse.
I know.
You're upset about that a little bit, aren't you?
I know. It's wild. Yeah, it's a wild thing. Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I'm a Columbus boy. Period.
Yes.
I mean, I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. I grew up with, obviously my dad with the Coughlins and drag racing. Larry Pegram obviously was big in motorcycle racing in that time. I actually knew Larry more from racing go-karts and stuff against him and playing around with him than anything else. But yeah, I mean, I'm a Columbus, Ohio guy. In 2010, because of IndyCar, I moved to Indy. And I figured, this is where I've got to be. If I'm going to be dedicated to my craft, I need to be here. And then out of all of that began all of this other junk, whether it's the Ducati dealership in Indy. We've got our Piaggio store, so Aprilia, Guzzi, Vespa, Piaggio scooters. We've got a Grand Rahal Performance, which is kind of the mothership of it all. And, a high-end car sales service, track prep, etc. So Indy now is very much home. I miss Columbus all the time. I love Columbus, Ohio.
How do you find the time to do all the stuff that you have? I know from working with them, you have very good people and you would need that. But still, when I look at the portfolio of businesses that you have, it's crazy. And then when I think, okay, and this guy also has to race a car, and now he's also got a MotoAmerica team, it's kind of cool that you've got that much going on.
Well, I think you have to always look that way. I think people, drivers, riders, athletes in general, if you believe it's going to go on forever, it's just simply not. And you need to look outside of that as to what, opportunities may come, or opportunities that you can create that are things that you're passionate about, that you're drawn to. And, for me, Grand Rahal Performance was always that. But maybe even more so, the Ducati dealership, the passion of the Ducati store was a huge part of that. I've been a lifelong Ducati, fan and freak. When I was a kid, my dad always had bikes. In fact, we would always go and ride out towards Granville and a lot of the back roads. That's what we love to do together. And so a lot of this stuff has started because of that. Now, the MotoAmerica thing was, some people know this, Dad mentioned this. Years ago, we were very close to jumping back in, or jumping in with BMW.
Yes.
And we had the bikes, we had riders signed, we had mechanics, everything. It was a full factory BMW deal. And the very last second, I believe everything was signed and done. It folded. And so Dad and I always had the itch to, try to get back into the fold of motorcycle racing in some capacity. And so this just worked out perfect to get the opportunity with Expel, which is a massive paint protection film company, ceramic coatings, window tints. They've been a big partner of mine, whether it was at my paint protection company in Indy, through our dealerships, I've been a user of their product for 15, 20 years. And so, when they came on board and we started talking about the opportunity with MotoAmerica, I think everybody lit up. Everybody felt that it was a great spot to go and to expose, people to their product as well. As I said to them, that, they are probably the biggest single sponsor in the series, maybe, at least in their capacity, what they're doing, their branding of two bikes, completely doing all the things that they've done. But people in power sports, and in particular motorcycles, don't often think about paint protection film, or don't often think about ceramic coatings on their bikes. And it makes a massive difference. And I can tell you the Ducati red, when you get ceramic coating on there, that color pops like nothing you've ever seen. And so we were excited to have them come on board. That really is what gave us the energy and the fuel, obviously the funds to jump in. And so it's a perfect opportunity. We're really, really pumped to get going. I'm super excited for Daytona. Unfortunately, I believe it's the exact same weekend as my race in St. Petersburg. I don't think I can make it, which is a massive bummer, because Daytona 200 I've been following, been a fan of since, again, Larry. When Larry was doing it back in the day. So when I first recognized how crazy those guys were, and now to be able to participate with the team is pretty awesome.
Oh, that sucks. You're not going to be there, but
yeah, I know. I'm super pumped about it. Like literally yesterday on the phone, Wayne was asking me to. I was like, man, I just can't. Like, It's the one, that I'd love to go to. It's just not possible. But we'll be there in spirit. I know a lot of my friends that normally come to the IndyCar race, I know are going to go and check out the 200 and then come over and see us as much as they can. So should we go?
That's great.
Well, I think we've got something to talk about today that's new.
Yeah. Let's get to that.
Let's get to that because I think it's a pretty cool deal. I also think it's cool that I think you found a rider that's like similar height.
Yeah, when I met him, I was like, "Whoa, what the? You're not what I expected." Right.
Well, let's tell the people what that is. They
I'm excited.
Yeah.
But we'll be adding a third entry in Super Sport Ducati V2 for Corey Alexander. Roller Die Informing has come on as the primary sponsor of that bike. Ray Hammonds at Roller Die has been absolutely amazing. He's a big supporter of our team prior, and then he and I had some conversations recently, and he felt very strongly and wanted to, help give Corey a good opportunity to jump in with us, jump on board with us, and showcase what he can do. And so we felt it was a great opportunity as well, because from a knowledge perspective, obviously Corey has got a lot of experience, and I think he can bring a lot of knowledge of the Ducati product as well to the table, and I think that would be great. I've known Richie for a long time. Richie and I have done a lot of deals. On specialty. Part of my business, part of the Ducati business, is very specialty bikes, unique bikes, so very rare one-off bikes. It's kind of how I got into it originally, anyway. So Richie and I have done deals forever. So small world that this all comes together, but we're super thrilled to have Corey on board. Roller Die Informing as his primary sponsor of Ducati V2, and give us 3 good bullets in that gun to go out there and win.
Yeah, and obviously, Graham. So the fact that Richie, HVMC, their family's dealership, they sell Ducatis. That's what you're talking about. You've done deals through that dealership.
Yeah. So Hudson Valley, we've known each other for a long time. Obviously, this is completely independent of them. When I first started looking at doing MotoAmerica probably 3 years ago, one of the first calls I made was to Richie just to ask questions and to see what he thought. So it's weird how small the world is and how things work sometimes. And, we're excited to have Corey. Obviously, like you said, he's a lot taller than I expected. I was like, hey, man, like that's, I just saw PJ a week before or the week after, I can't remember, but two polar opposites, but we are really pumped about our lineup. Obviously PJ, Corey, they're knowns. I feel strongly both of them are winners. I feel strongly that we should see them out front all the time. And I think Kayla is the most exciting prospect that's been in the sport in a long time. And so I'm extremely proud that she's on our team. I said this a little bit at our announcement, but I feel very strongly about seeing females in motorsport. Obviously, my wife is really important to us, to Courtney and everything. But also, if you go back to my dad with Danica, giving Danica her first big opportunity and look where she went from there. I think the same can be said for Kayla. She gets out there, she does well, she wins. The opportunities for Kayla are going to be endless, whether it's here, whether it's Europe. I'm excited to play a small part in getting her, getting her out there as well.
Yeah, it's interesting with Kayla. You don't even have to say what her gender is. She's an incredible rider. She's watching her life. It doesn't matter. She just is all in. She's great.
It speaks volumes that, first off, anybody who follows her on social media sees her dedication. Whether she's training every day or whether she's out on, the supermoto bike, or whether she's, we're getting her a test bike, just a V2 to get out and just ride, whether it be road, frankly, on the track, frankly, just get her comfortable with the bike itself. But her dedication is very impressive. And I think that'll carry her a long way. And it speaks volumes to Kayla's capability when a guy like Paolo from Ducati Corsa calls me and says, hey, this is the best female I've ever seen on a bike.
That's good.
And yet she's 16. And when Paulo says that, you listen, right? And Paulo's been around
forever.
So you name it. He's been around it. Valentino and Casey, of course, Nicky and Ben, and the list kind of goes on to, to their dominance of today, in MotoGP, World Superbike. So when Paulo speaks, you listen, and to me, I was very impressed, and I thought, well, we definitely, and she was already on our list of targets, but then it was immediately like, okay, well, let's just get her signed out. Let's get this done and let's move forward. So we're really pumped up.
She's so polished too. Like Sean can attest to. It's like she's one of our favorites from a PR standpoint because she just gets it. Yeah. And you just let her loose and she takes care of it. She doesn't need any. And it's hard to believe sometimes how young she actually is considering, what she's capable of doing with that stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're for all of them, I think, the marketing team that we're assembling behind this, the PR team that we have with Reese, who's got tremendous experience, over MotoGP and HRC and Ducati for our Formula One. I mean, everything else. His energy has been tremendous and what he's been able to bring to the table already. And I think he's going to help take all of these riders to the next level. But you are right. I mean, and that's a big part of this too. When we look at, today's announcement with Rollerdyne forming Corey's bike, I mean, that's a huge deal for us. And we want to make sure that we take care of Rollerdyne, that we get them their ROI, that we make this a successful campaign for them, just as much as we do for the riders and everybody else. And so we're putting a lot of attention to detail in all the aspects of this program. To make sure that we do it right, to do it to what we would expect from IndyCar. That doesn't mean that what we expect from IndyCar is better or whatever. It's just a different mentality. But I do find that there are certain things, certain areas that I think we can help kind of change the game and the way that people go about their business. And so I'm excited. I mean, I feel like this is just a tremendous opportunity. I'm very excited to work with Wayne and Richard and Terry. I mean, we've spoken to these guys for years, years about doing this, and to finally see it all come together, and then to get Ohio back and some of the other things that I'm excited about. It's huge momentum, for the series. I think it's huge momentum for us as a brand. We obviously for Ducati Indianapolis. Ducati Cleveland. I mean, this is a big deal for us as well. I think, PJ, Kayla, Corey, they're going to do a wonderful job for us and we're excited.
I have a question sorry, Sean. I have a question as far as how similar, I mean, it's all racing, right? And racers are the same, whether you race a go-kart or whether you're at Bonneville Salt Flats or a NASCAR driver, they're racers. Yeah. How similar... Well, with your limited knowledge of MotoAmerica, which I think is actually not that limited, but what's the similarities between the two series? Is there anything or not?
I mean, of course, naturally the competition side is very similar. The difficulty of MotoAmerica for me right now is understanding the rules fully. That's not really my job either. I mean, obviously you've got James and Ben and the guys that are digging into that, but to try to understand what we can and can't do, to try to understand, what exhaust system you can or can't run. Is it really legal? Is it not? Is it, there's a lot of questions, particularly in super sport that I, for me, there's a lot of learning. Whereas IndyCar, I'm pretty aware right away of this. But again, if somebody came out of MotoAmerica and the IndyCar, you'd think the same thing. You'd be like, well, I don't understand, what can I do? What can't I? And so at least, that's been the biggest learning curve. I mean, the racing side of things, the fundamentals of going racing, racing is racing. I mean, I don't care if you go sports car racing, IndyCar racing, NASCAR racing, MotoAmerica, on race day when the visor goes down, the mentality I think is the exact same. The preparation side is the same. I think we want to make sure that when our bikes go out, then that they are prepared to the absolute max as best they can be. Keep our riders safe, obviously, but also, to be able to go fast. And so a lot of those things are similarities. It's really just down to the rules and what areas you can exploit and what you can't. And I think that's the biggest learning curve for me. And I hear from Ben almost every day and James about, oh, we learned this today, or we figured this out. And so we'll see how it all shapes out.
Well, yeah, especially in super sport, Graham, because of all of our classes, it's arguably the most complicated with the super sport next generation. And I mean, looking at a 955 CCV twin versus a 599 four-cylinder, you know, it's a balancing thing. And obviously, your bike is curtailed a fair amount. I mean, Josh Aaron talked to us about that. Xavi Flores said it last year. And, you know, so you're going into it with at least a bike that has, well, it's won the championship the past 2 years. There's some shoes to fill there. But I want to talk to you a little bit about PJ, because PJ, so he was a runner-up in World Supersport a few years ago, and he was a runner-up in our Supersport a couple of years ago too. The kid is a Supersport specialist, I think, as well as he did on Superbike the past couple of years. I just interviewed him on Friday, and we talked a lot about how excited he is to be back in this class because of his size. You know, the way he rides a bike, he's a good person to be on that bike. It's a good choice to get him.
So he was my number one target for the last couple of years. You know, I reached out to PJ kind of right away. Obviously, most people know Jay Root from the Ducati, and so Jason and I, it's probably been 2 or 3 years. You know, we started to go over a list of, you know, who we thought maybe a good fit, who wouldn't be. And started to kind of follow guys and see how they were doing, see the way they carried themselves, and see what their social media was like, and all these sorts of things. And so PJ was always kind of my first, go-to guy that I thought, if we can get this team off the ground, he's the guy that we want to have. So I was excited to get him. I think he brings a lot to the table for our team. Obviously, his success in Supersport is great, but his knowledge as well. Just being able to race internationally the way he has, race here a lot the way he has, that helps. That helps tremendously. And obviously the way that he can take that information and utilize that to help Kayla is important as well. I mean, I see that in the way that my career's gone now. I'm getting to be the older guy, so now a lot of young, the young pops are coming up, and you're trying to pass a lot of that knowledge off and help them out. And so I think PJ's going to be, while he's still young and he's got a lot of wins still ahead of him, I think he's going to be great for the program as well.
Yeah, let me say, well, I don't know if I'll be the first to say this to you, Graham, but happy birthday on January 4th. You'll be 35 years old after the first of the year. Yeah. So that's still pretty young. I mean, I can't believe all the things you've done in 35 years. Incredible.
I don't know if I feel it, though. I can tell you that. Although I don't feel as bad as probably. Oh shit! I remember seeing Nikki and those guys walk around and just see about injuries and broken bones and stuff the motorcycle guys have. It's just wild. But certainly, in my career, I've been fortunate to do this as long as I have. Drive for the teams I've been able to drive for. But the older you get, you certainly bones don't feel the way they did 15, 17 years ago. It takes a lot more effort. It takes a lot more energy. But I also think it's good because the things I've learned too, I think I can pass on, to try to help Kayla in particular. I would keep her healthy. I know she's had some knee issues and things like that, so to keep her healthy. Same with PJ and Corey with the recovery side and stuff like that. I mean, I'm getting older, so I've learned some things, good or bad.
And Paul and Graham, I just want to tell you, we're going to be joined by a special guest. It's Mini Graham here. Let me take my blur off so we can see. It's Mini Graham.
There you go.
Mr. Graham right here.
Yeah.
And we've got the Honda, the Lara.
How long have you had those?
Well, they're 2023 versions, and I'm not going to take them out of the package. Graham knows you got to keep them in the package.
Oh, it is a collection,
but there is scenarios
that didn't make that many little stand-up things.
I'm pretty excited.
I called it mini daddies.
Yeah, it's been let's talk about I was kind of being a realtor on the podcast with mini Graham here.
So I need to get warmed up.
Yeah, there's a spot here in the back for you to sign, Graham, so I'm gonna make sure I didn't do that.
Yeah, no worries. You can do that.
Viewers, I figured you remember this. So we will have to bring a trailer a fair amount, and I know when you were on there, but you were getting ready to sell your replicas, and I was like, man, that would be cool if you got some money for a team. And you said, well, maybe it'll work. We'll see what happens. So, your team for years. That was still it.
No, I know. I've been working on this a long time. I keep saying it. That's true. I've been working on this a long time. We almost had it together last year. And it just, just didn't work in the end, time-wise. And so, and again, we felt like we needed to really be prepared. I mean, to try to put something out in December, it just wasn't going to go well. But it's been 2 or 3 years of talking. Yeah. And so, I think really since I opened the Ducati Indianapolis, which was the end of 2020, that is probably when I was like, okay, we need to get the motorcycle program on the run, because I think for us from a branding standpoint, it's great. For us to tie ourselves to Ducati is obviously great. Ducati's success has been amazing in MotoAmerica. So for me, there was a lot of reasons, but yeah, it was hard to keep it under wraps because my wife says I talk too much. I'd like to talk, and so it's when you got a good secret to tell, it's hard to not. So I'm glad it didn't really get out there that quick.
You've obviously looked at the schedule, and you've already told us that Daytona is going to be a no for you. How many races are you going to miss that conflict with the racing you have to do behind the wheel?
Well, I think we'll be able to make John. I was thinking I can make only about 3 or maybe 4 races, but I can guarantee you, I mean, we will try to make as many as we can. I'm super excited about all of this, and I think it's going to be great for our team and our sponsors to be there. So I'll try my hardest. I know Dad's excited. I know he wants to get there as much as possible. But as I said, we got a lot of friends and stuff that they're big motorcycle fans. That they're going to get out there and get their first taste of MotoAmerica as well. So we'll get there as much as we can.
I think it's going to be interesting and I think it's a plus for both series, because I know how the motorcycle racing people are. If they have somebody to pull for in another series, they'll do it, right? Like I would be more interested in watching IndyCar now because I'll get to know you even better. But that'll give me some reason that I want to watch it more than in the past. And I think that works both ways. And I think that's kind of exciting, really, when you think about it.
Well, and I think it exposed a lot of sponsors too. It's something that we're trying to do is, take sponsors like Excel, which has been in NASCAR, of course, IndyCar, anyway, for a long time, to go, hey, check out what you can do over here. We've got the same with a few other partners that I can't announce or say anything yet, but that are looking really positive. That have been around the big, four-wheel motorsport for a long time. It'll be interesting to get them into two-wheel to see what they think. And obviously, there's still are the inherent challenges and things that are there. I was actually speaking to Wayne last night about the TV package and stuff like that. And I know it'll continue to get better, and they're going to push that really hard. And their subscription stuff looks really good. But for me, I think there's a lot of partners that can be exposed to MotoAmerica and find it really attractive. And at the end of the day, motorcycle riders, enthusiasts are a hardcore breed. They're a hardcore breed. And so to me, there's a great branding opportunity for a lot of these companies. Even if you look at like my biggest sponsor, IndyCar, United Rentals, I can guarantee you, and they are now a partner as of now, at least on the MotoAmerica program, I can guarantee you there is a hell of a lot of United Rentals employees that are motorcycle enthusiasts. And so I think it's a natural, organic fit, right? But you've got to expose them to it. They've got to see it. So hopefully we can do that over the next year or so.
Yeah, Graham, I want to give you a little bit of an endorsement. I won't say the name unless you say it. So regarding Expel, regarding ceramic coatings, there actually is a shop, good shop in New Albany that I go to that I believe uses Expel, and you probably know who I'm talking about.
Todd, yeah.
What's that?
Todd Cooper, right?
I love Todd. Yeah, I talk about you when I go there. But yeah, they use Expel films and ceramic coatings.
Yeah.
I've used them on my cars and my bikes, and you're absolutely right. I mean, if you want your bike and car to be pristine, that's the way to keep it that way.
See, I'm the perfect example. I had no idea that even existed. I mean, I don't know if it's a back east thing, and I'm in California, so we don't use that, but I don't understand why we wouldn't use it if it makes the thing look better and last longer.
Oh, well, it's that's the exact reason we're doing this, right? I think there's a huge opportunity. My Ducati stores have been using Expel products for a long time. I remember all like tank cutters. You'd have these tank cutters that were just, in my opinion, so ugly. But of course, you don't have a zipper from your coat or your fly or whatever right? Now you put the clear film on and you frankly don't even see it. And number two, it creates some adhesion to it. If you wrap it around the entire size of the tank, it creates a little bit of grip for you as well. But the ceramic coating, really it's a high polish of the bike, and then you put the coating on, the coating bakes, and it turns out, you run through rain and the water just dissipates right off. You try to take care of that paint, keep it looking fresh. You use the ceramic booster, quick spray every single time you go to clean it up. The best thing I tell my employees every day at Rahal Paint Protection and at Indianapolis is that the best thing that we've got when you talk about Expel products, you're not selling snake oil. It legitimately works. It saves your product. If you're going to go buy a $20,000, V2, or you're going to go get a new Diablo V4, you're going to go into the V4S, you're going to go get a multi. You're going to spend that kind of money. You want to protect your investment. It is that simple. Just like you buy a new car. I mean, no car is cheap nowadays. None. So you go get a new car. You want to make sure, particularly if it's dark colors, that you're taking care of that product. And that's what the film does. We see a lot of people use window tint. A lot of people know the nano ceramic technology to keep heat out and stuff like that. But the Expel film combined with ceramic fusion I'm telling you, it's fascinating. On the bikes, we're kind of doing parts and panels. Some guys want to wrap the entire bike. That's a very time consuming. You've got to have a good installer doing that. But we can certainly do PPF on a lot of the major touch points, and then ceramic the entire bike, and then it makes life a lot easier when you're trying to clean it up. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, that's what I've done. And I mean, for sure, you put the film on. I've done this, like you said, Todd Cooper, right? Or it is esoteric. So I put the film on, or had them do it. I don't do it. And then they put the ceramic. You can put it over the film, not just over the paint.
Yeah.
It really seals everything so nicely. And you're right. I mean, it really cleans things up very well. Hey, I want to ask you about one other thing. So this may be a little before your time, Graham, but I don't think it is before Bobby's. You mentioned about Wayne. We all know the career that Wayne had. And the other guy was one of the other guys, other than Kevin Schwantz, was, of course, Eddie Lawson. And Eddie raced for a while with Rick Gallis, and he was with Tasman.
Yeah.
And we thought he was going to be our guy in Champ Car back then. And after a while, he didn't think his car was competitive, and he won so many elections in motorcycle racing that he didn't like not winning. But I want to ask you about that, because you are a motorcycle rider. When you're in the car, you can't lead. So can you affect an IndyCar at all with your body when you're driving it?
No. So it's so different. But speaking to Ben about the way that he processed, certain handling characteristics of a bike and things like that, as weird as it was, they were actually very similar. Particularly kind of, judging, your traction and things like that based on the rear tire and the way that the bike would move, and whether it kind of slides and takes a set, or whether it just keeps going. Those sensations, the way that you feel it through your butt, is the same, which is kind of an interesting dynamic. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that come out. I mean, you've seen Valentino do it right now, and Europe really push hard on getting a full wheel racing. you know, there's a lot of guys that come out of motorcycle racing can be very competitive in cars. And naturally, I think part of that is just quite simply, it's a hell of a lot safer. You know, the stuff that's around you, right? It gives you this sensation of safety, whether that's true or not. And I think that, you know, guys that grew up racing on bikes and running at the top levels and going 200 miles an hour plus on a bike, I can guarantee you a car is going to feel a lot slower, you know. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. And I mean, even Ben, you know, now he's doing a lot of 4-wheel track days and things like that. So a lot of people, you know, go back and forth. But, you know, as I said, I remember so well having Nicky. I mean, Nicky came to 500 every year, pretty much. So I'd see him every year, and you know, it's obviously still a real shame that he's not with us. But you know, to see the way that he walked around, and so I was just in pain of looking at him there. I was like, God, you guys need to get something around you to keep you safer. But they thought we were nuts. You know, I used to always tell him, I said, dude, you are the craziest guy I know. And he was at the Indy 500 course. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? What are you guys doing? And I'm like, well, I guess that's just natural. You know, we all think each other are nuts, and that's why we compete in our given worlds.
I tell you, I did a Kevin Schwantz school at Indianapolis when they opened the road circuit. I think it was right before the first time they had the Grand Prix there. And I couldn't believe, like, going down the front straightaway, like on TV and stuff, it looks big. But when I couldn't imagine two cars going through there at that speed. It was like, it just, that's the impact it had on me. It was like, how do they do that?
Well, and then when you get there on a race day and the crowd fills in and you got 300,000 people there, it feels like you're driving in a tunnel. Yeah, I mean, it literally just goes from being kind of like this, like all this aluminum all over the place to like everybody's just, it just feels like everything's on top of you. So it's pretty interesting how Indy does that. It definitely, it's a massive place though, isn't it?
Yeah, I wish we still raced there.
I'd love to see bikes. I know. That was another winning topic. Was, hey, we got to get Roger to do this. So we'll keep putting the bug in his.
So he's put you in charge of that as well.
Well, he's, you know, just trying to spread the word. I'm just the parent. I can sit and repeat a lot.
You know, a couple of years ago, Graham, it was Sunday or the Indy 500, so you were otherwise occupied. But Paul and I were there with Josh Shays and Cameron Bobier, and they did a lap around the track.
Yeah, it was cool.
And we loved the fact that we were in the media, in the line with all the celebrities, with our riders, and then, you know, we stayed for the race, and it's like a tunnel, but that was incredible that year. We saw you guys, and they went around the track.
Yeah, 500's awesome, man. I mean, there's nothing in the world like it, at least that I've been exposed to. So, you know, on a single day event, it's pretty unbelievable for a lot of people.
I mean, you can see, like, a lot of guys may not do the whole series anymore, but they stick around and make sure they still go to Indy as long as they can. That's what it looks like from the outside anyway.
Yeah, for sure. There's guys like Elio who will do it next year, or won't do the full season. I mean, I think that's kind of the evolution of it. Guys can still be very competitive there. They may lose the edge a little bit on some of the road courses, but they can be competitive there. So they stick around and do it. But no, I mean, it's you know, Indy's a special place, man. If you can win there, it changes the entire world. And I've been close before, I haven't gotten it done yet. But you know, it changes your world for sure.
Yeah, so Graham, two things I got to point out. We're going to wrap here, but I've been waiting for this opportunity. So I need to talk to you about a couple of things. You won the first, and we're not going to count the first one. You won the first race you ever raced in St. Petersburg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
St. Pete 08.
And then
but you don't realize how hard the second was going to be, you know? Got it easy. But yeah, I mean, you know, but again, in IndyCar racing, it's an interesting thing because there's a lot of people, it's like PGA Tour. There's a lot of people that will compete at a high level and be out front but never win. And people forget that. You know, I mean, there's a lot of people that never win at all. And so, you know, in those middle years, 2015, 16, 17, we were winning a lot, you know, which was good. But we got to get back to those ways too. And so we still got a lot of work to be done to get there.
So you're gonna keep doing it, no doubt about it. I mean, 35 is young.
I got a few more years for sure. I just resigned. I resigned for a few more. And again too, there's a lot that goes into this. I got great sponsors at IndyCar. Whether it's Fifth Third Bank, whether it's PMC, iPacket, which is a great company based out of West Virginia. The list goes on. I mean, we've got great partners that have made this possible. And so it goes both ways, right? I've been with you guys at Reynolds for 8 years, maybe more. And, I told them I genuinely want to be with you guys till the day I stop. Very few drivers get the opportunity to spend that amount of years with one partner. And so that's kind of been my goal. I just want United Reynolds I know everybody sees them all over the place. They're massive, whatever. They are the best company to work with. They're extremely charitable. We give a ton of money back for veterans. And so I just told them, hey, I'd like to just finish off with you guys. So we kind of align things. We'll see if into the actual end or not. But there's probably a good chance, that a few more years down the road will be it for me.
Well, I'll tell you, the first night I ever spent in Ohio when I first moved here, I stayed at a Red Roof Inn because of your dad.
There you go.
But we since then have that Red Roof Inn on the side, so it makes a difference. Those things like Expel on the side of the Ducati this year, and the road guy with Corey. I mean, people are going to pay attention to that stuff. So that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, we're really, really pumped, and I think too. We're going to help bring some brands to the forefront of the sport that may have been better the sport in the past that are reinvigorated by things here. So hopefully we'll get some of those things signed up and get them done. And I think it'll be great.
You could really save Sean a lot of money if you could bring Diet Mountain Dew into the series.
Yeah, that's my beverage. So. Can you do it?
I don't know about that. But
He'll give it a go.
Mountain Dew would make a lot of sense, though. Energetic. Oh, yeah, for sure. And anything power sports, so MotoAmerica, how they got Mountain Dew would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay, Paul, I got one more question.
Oh, Sean.
No, we had Josh Hayes and Cameron go around. We don't race on ovals. I think I know the answer to this, but I'm not quite sure, so I'm going to ask you. Do you prefer road courses to ovals?
Well, there's two sides of this. If you have a good handling race car, you will never have more fun than oval racing.
Oh,
never.
Okay. Wow.
It is, like when I won Texas, or when I won Fontana, or when I should have won the Indy 500 in 2021. The left rear wheel fell off after a pit stop, but we were really in a damn good spot that day. But if you have a good handling race car on an oval, it is a blast. The flip side of that is it is not good. It is the deadliest experience you will ever have. I mean, because you're at access on 235 into turn 3 and you're just hanging on and you're just waiting for it to go. You're waiting, but you just know. And let me just tell you, even with the safety's gotten better, there's no light impact, right? It's kind of like a motorcycle. I mean, I guess if you low side and you just kind of let the bike go, no, maybe, but there's no light impact. And I took a hit last year, 2 years ago. It was like 121 G's or something, and you're like, you just feel it. You feel it. Wow. And so that's kind of my answer. I mean, I'm a road racer at heart, always have been. But if you got a good balanced oval car, it is a freaking blast. So, I would prefer to go road racing just because 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a better experience. But they are very different, fundamentally. And the way that you approach them, the way that you think about racing them. When you see certain guys that are really good on ovals, they, are willing to take and accept more risks maybe than somebody else. There's a variety of things that go into that, but yeah, I mean, that's what's cool about IndyCar. We see the super speedways, we see the short ovals, we see short all the time, any for a guy order, then you see a short oval that has no banking. or very little like Gateway. Texas isn't on the schedule this year, which is kind of okay. The crowd is really diminished there. But then you go to Indianapolis, which is kind of its own being completely. And then the road and street courses. It'd be pretty cool to see MotoAmerica try to hit up a street course at some point. Obviously, yes. Runoff and making sure you've got the air walls and all that sort of stuff is critical. And the other thing I think it would be awesome to do is to see MotoAmerica come together with IndyCar and do a race weekend. I don't see why you couldn't.
That'd be cool.
I think there's a lot of opportunity in Mid-Ohio. Mid-Ohio would be a great opportunity, obviously, to get a big crowd independently. But still, there's tracks that can make it happen and be pretty sweet.
Yeah, Mid-Ohio would be awesome for it. I cannot believe you brought up about the wheel coming off. I never would have brought that up to you, Graham. I never said. So, I died. So that's so bad.
It's so runs through my head. I'm just not. You never know. You never know when you're going to get another chance that good. And obviously that was 2 years ago. I haven't had a chance that good since, and so. But those things happen, it is racing. It is racing. And so, which is still down.
You touched on this at the beginning of the podcast when you talked about James Compton and Ben. It takes a team to win. The driver is all a lot of it, but it's your team and, the team.
Yeah. So 100%. That's how, we're trying to give our riders the best that we can give them. That's my promise to them. We'll give you guys all the tools you need to be successful. It's the way Dad, Mike Lanning, and everybody else are with our race team and IndyCar. We give you all the tools. But it's on down to make sure they go out and utilize it correctly and go make it happen.
All right, I got to cut you Ohioans off. Is it Ohioans? Ohioans?
Ohioans. It's OH.
All right.
There you go.
Graham, thank you very, very much for taking the time to hang out with us a little bit. And we obviously look forward to working with you and your team, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be great.
Absolutely. No, thank you guys very much. We can't wait.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Graham.